The weeks follow each other in a monotonous round of labor until one day something happens to break the bonds of exile. A visitor is coming into the orange groves. He's an American padre, a missionary servant of the most holy Trinity. His name, Padre Gabriel. His ready smile and friendly greeting dispel any hesitation on the part of the men. As the word spreads, they come quickly. It is for this purpose that the Trinity missionaries have come to California, to preserve and strengthen the faith of these men who share with us the Catholic faith. Into many camps of Southern California, to many hundreds of braceros, the Trinity missionaries are bringing the opportunity of practicing their religion. Padre Gabriel speaks Spanish fluently. He lived in Mexico for 3 years while training for his work with the braceros. And he knows Michoacan, the home state of these men. His accents and his use of familiar phrases delight the men and draw them close in friendly conversation. Suddenly it seems that the gloom of the past weeks has been dispelled. A kindly priest, a common language, and a common faith unite them once again. From now on, life at Scott's Camp will be different. Once the Trinity missionaries have made contact with the men, they do not neglect them. Within a few days, another Trinity missionary priest comes to the camp to hear confessions. One by one, the men will approach this ambassador of Christ, and with his help, make straight their accounts with God. It does not matter that the padre has no church. Even a barren field can become the tribunal of God's mercy by the presence of a priest. With the simplicity of purpose that our Lord urged upon all of us, the braceros drop to their knees in the open fields to recite their penance. During the months that follow, the Trinity missionaries come weekly to celebrate the holy sacrifice of the Mass. There may be hundreds of braceros in attendance, or just a few, depending upon the fields to be harvested, the groves yet to be picked. At the many bracero camps they visit, the hours of divine worship must fit the work schedule. Sometimes Mass must be celebrated in the evening, or in the early hours of the morning, before the men leave for the groves. But the Trinity missionaries know that every Mass brings abundant grace to each camp, as it does to each soul. And so, the eternal sacrifice goes on, night and day, for any and all who can attend. To labor for the preservation of the faith. This is the watchword of the missionary servants of the Most Holy Trinity. And whether their work be in the hills of Kentucky, the cotton fields of Mississippi, or the orange groves of California, the Trinity missionary counts not so much the numbers of his flock as their infinite worth in the sight of God. During the weeks that follow, the men set up a picture of Our Lady of Guadalupe in the groves. In every home, in every place of business throughout Mexico, one finds her image. Surely, then, she has a rightful place in the orange groves of California, where her sons earn their daily bread. In addition to Mass and the sacraments, the Trinity missionary comes to the camps to give instructions. During these difficult months of separation, he reminds the men of their family ties, their duties to their loved ones. He reminds them that God will not be wanting to their needs. And the men listen attentively, respectfully. For many of them, it is the first formal instruction they have received since childhood. Within a few weeks, life has changed for these men from Mexico. What once seemed a dreary exile in search of funds and isolation from their loved ones and even from their God now becomes a life in which hope has reappeared. Where once there was loneliness, now the common bond of faith brings joy. Fiestas and free days now bring meetings between Mexicans and Americans at La Purísima Mission in El Modena. Here the Trinity missionaries and the parishioners welcome the Mexican visitors with a warmth and sincerity that break barriers of nationality and distance. The little frame building, dilapidated and worn, becomes a haven for the visiting braceros. Within it, one will often find, kneeling, wrapped in prayer, a man of Mexico. He comes to thank his lady and his mother for her help. He comes to pledge again his love to one who centuries ago promised to show compassion to all who seek me in their need. In the old city of Mexico, at the plaza of Our Lady of Guadalupe, the people still come by the thousands. To Mary, the Virgin Mother of God, they bring the tribute of their love. On her feast day, with childlike faith, they sing, they dance, they offer flowers before her shrine. The story of her love is as fresh and new as it was on that day in 1531 when she spoke to Juan Diego, asking that a church be built on this spot near Tepeyac Hill. To the Mexican people, as to us, she still says, as she did to Juan Diego, "Let nothing trouble or afflict thee. Fear neither pain nor sickness, nor other grievous accident. Am I not here, I who am thy mother?"